Hey Board Game Maniacs, Maniac Rob here to bring you another introduction video into the world of Fallout, the board game by Fantasy Flight Studios. Now, if you were following along, you've probably seen the first video that I did, which is introducing each character and their special traits that they have and so on. Now this video is going to talk about two things. Number one is the character board, which you see in front of you right here. And number two is the map tiles and how to create your scenario that you're going to play. That is what we're going to cover today in this video number 2 in the series. Before we get started, just a quick reminder that on December 14th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to do a live streaming on our YouTube channel and also our Twitch channel, Board Game Maniacs, the live solo gameplay video of none other than Fallout. Now, what makes this special is that during the live stream, whoever is viewing this is going to be able to chime in with text and help me play the game, deciding where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, and everything such as that. So I learn the game, you learn the game, we have fun playing it together, and hopefully we will succeed and beat this mission. First thing we're going to cover is the character dashboard. So you can see here, this is the character dashboard, just to show you the back of it and the front. Now, when you first purchase this game, it does come unassembled, the character dashboard. It's very simple to do. You got your base one, which is this part. It's the whole thickness, and then you have the overlay that sits on top, and you have plastic clips such as this that you just put in the holes and squeeze together, and that's how you create your character dashboard. On top of that, you see a couple of things here that are already on here. You have a gray peg. This gray peg, it's a plastic peg, and the gray peg is to track your experience, and that goes in XP 0. Or the first hole of the XP, your experience track. And then also down below here, you have on this side, it's the green, which is your rad level. You start off with 0 rad or 0 radiation with the green peg. And on this side is your HP, your hit point value that you start off with. Every character in the game, if you didn't watch the first video of the character introduction, starts off with 16 hit points. So you would take your red peg and you would place it just like so. So you have your hit points and you have your red. Now, how a character can be taken off the board or killed or start at the beginning tile is if ever your hit point value and your rad value meets and touches in the middle. So just say, for instance, you're suffering radiation and you're up to a dangerous level of 6. And during the game, fighting monsters, fighting humans and robots and everything, you went down to 7 hit point value. So therefore, if these ever meet on the dashboard, that means that your character has been damaged enough that it has to start at the starting tile of the map and go on. Now, a little bit of information about that. Actually, before, I'm just going to say that I'm going to read it directly from the book so everybody understands it and we're on the same page. I found it in the book. Now let's talk specifically. I'm going to read this word for word. And what I'm reading from is, I went to Board Game Geek and I found updated rules, FAQ, and so on and so forth, and I printed them off so that I had the most up-to-date rules for when we're going to do the live streaming. This updated rules and so forth is version 1. It was printed in February of 2018. All right, so let me read this word for word. So talking about hit points, which is the red, and your rad or radiation, which is your green. When you suffer damage, move the red peg on your player board a number of holes down the track equal to the damage suffered. So as I said, if you took 4 damage and you're on 16, you're going to drop it down 4 so that you're going to go down to 12 hit points. because 12 plus 4 is 16. When you suffer rads or radiation, move the green peg up the track a number of holes equal to the rad suffered. So again, if you're at 0 radiation level and you entered in an area that has a green outline on the map, which we're going to go through in this video too as well, you're going to suffer radiation. So you would have to move up. If they ever meet together, this is what we're getting at, is right here. So if your HP is ever equal to or lower than your rads, your turn ends and you are killed. Place your figure in any space on the crossroads camp map tile. So when you build a map, you have a starting tile. These are tiles, these here things. You have a starting tile where you start. So if you get killed, you're going to have to place your figure back on that starting tile. Discard all cards in your inventory, keeping any equipped cards, and recover all HP. Move the red peg back to the highest number. When you were killed, you do not recover rads. So just say we died here. So what would happen here is that the rad level is obviously going to stay at 6 because it tells you that, but you'd go back up to 16 for your HP. But from where I have the ghoul set out, and we went through this in the previous video, you start off with 12 hit points. That is the difference for the ghoul. It gets less hit points, but when it's going to suffer radiation, it increases its hit points, but you can only go to the maximum hit point value that you start off with, which is 12. And that is for the ghoul. In any case, where was I at here? When you were killed, do not recover rad. Yes. After you recover your hit points, if you are still killed because your rads are in the highest hole, you lose the game and are eliminated. So pretty much what that means is during the game, now forget that this is the ghoul, but just say any other character, you're starting at 16. So you went down the track, they met, you died, and you would put your peg here and you continue on, but your rad level stays. So during the game, if you keep building up your rad level, and you get to 16 rad, or in this case, just I'll put it there for your 15 radiation level, and you die, you're going to go back to the starting tile and you start off with your full hit points, but they are meeting. So because they are equal to each other or less, one's less than the other, which means that this is going to down here, that just simply means that your character has finally died and they do not play the game anymore. They're out of the game completely. And because we are going to be playing a solo mission, then that just means that we lost the game completely. And that's why, like with the radiation level and everything, I was thinking myself, hey, a ghoul is a good character to play so that, you know, my rads are not going to increase unless the card specifically says so. And whenever we're going to suffer radiation, I get health points increased to the max of 12. So that was my thought process on why I wanted to be the ghoul. But if you think I should be a different character, like I said in the video previous, again, excuse me, I'm still sick and I'm trying to stop myself from coughing in the mic. But just comment down below and say, I would like for you to play this character. And if I get I'm going to look at all the comments, and whatever is requested the most is the character I'm going to play. So anyhow, that is it for the character board. We still got a couple other things to show you about the character board, but that is how you go through your hit points and your radiation level, or your rads. Next thing we're going to talk about is your special icons. Now, our tokens, you can see special is spelt out here, and the reason for that being, when you start the game, I'm just picking the ghoul here as an example. You have your token here, which I did already talk about, and on the other side you have a letter, and this is P. So P stands for perception. So then we would take it and we'd place it into the P. So you would start the game automatically with P. Now on top of that, you're going to grab another random one, and you're going to flip it over, and now this is an S, so then I would put it there. So I'm starting the game with strength and perception. So that's what this the ghoul will start off with. Now during the game, what happens is you're going to be able to, whenever you level up, you're going to be able to grab 2 more of these tokens, not the S and the P, but just the level up tokens. The name, I'm just looking in the book because the name is kind of just eluding me here because I am just still sick. But they're special tokens, that's what they are. And we already in the previous video talked about what each letter, so strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. So that is your special letters. So you're going to, if you ever level up, you're going to take 2 of your special tokens, which you don't know what they are because they are all face down. You can see the heads, that means that's the way. And you would flip them over, and you can only take 1 of these. So I already have an S here that you can see, so I obviously will be taking the L, and then I would place it into my character board. And again, that is every time you're going to level up playing the game. Now the next question would be, well, how do you level up? It's very simple. So during the game, when you kill monsters or humans or robots or anything, you are going to gain experience points. And this is where your experience point tracker comes into effect. So just say you killed a level 2 robot. So therefore, you're going to go up 2 levels in experience. So the way you would do it is you would take it out, the gray, and you would go 1, 2. So that's it. You went up 2 levels of experience for killing that robot. Just say now you killed, a bloat fly, and that bloat fly is only a level 1. So you get 1 experience. So you don't go to the next available slot, which is here, the hold, because there's no special token in there. You have to go up to the next special token. So you would go up to L because that's what you have there. So you leveled up. You didn't level up again, but you went up, you got more experience. Now, just say I killed another bloat fly. Then what you're going to have to do is you will go back, because you're at the end here, you're going to go back to 1. So because you made a full round trip, you're going to be able to level up, which you would grab 2 of your tokens, your special tokens, and you would look at them and pick 1. Now, just say, for instance, you picked 2 of the same ones that you already had. What would you do in that case? In that case, what you do is you would grab, which is called a perk card. And these perk cards, I'm going to show you what they are. I'm just going to grab them. And these perk cards look just like this. Hopefully the camera will get that in focus, not too much glare. There we go. So you get different perk cards. And what these perk cards are for, or like a one-time use, they'll give you a bonus. So if you have the letters that you picked already, then during the game you'll just grab a perk card instead of a letter. And then the next time you level up, you're going to grab 2 more tokens, special tokens, and again, keep filling them up. Now let's take a look at one of these perk cards quickly. So this perk card here, it's Lead Belly. Discard to recover all of your radiation. And you see S-P-E-C-I-L, so E. And E stands for endurance. So this is an endurance card, more or less. So you're able to recover all of your radiation levels. So again, if you look at your character board, and hypothetically we had 8 rads. Now, we can discard this card because we picked it up because of where we already had all of our letters, or the letters that we picked up for when we were leveling up, we already had those 2 letters, or one of the letters, and then you would just play that card so that you can go back for your radiation level. That's pretty much it for the endurance cards and how you level up. You can see there's the endurance cards again. Not endurance cards. What am I doing here? Perk cards. Perk cards. These are the perk cards. And that's how you pretty much level up. Now again, just say you pull 2 of the special tokens. So I just grabbed another one, and that is 2 S's. That's probably not a good example. I'm just going through them and just grabbing one. Hold on, keep grabbing the same ones. Like, come on. These are all random too as well. There we go. So you can see here I got an I and an S. So just say, hypothetically, I leveled up because of the experience and I grabbed 2 of these. Now you can see on my character dashboard, I don't have an I yet. But I have the choice, I don't have to take this I. Just say that I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to leave the I. I'll get it in another round. I'm going to say I picked up the S, but I'm going to put my S in the slot. Uh-oh, I already got the S. So pretty much what you're doing in that circumstance is you're saying, instead of grabbing the I am just going to grab a perk card because I want to get a perk card for that one-time benefit or bonus. So that's how the perk cards come into play. That is how you go up for your experience. That's how you get your radiation levels increased and your hit points decreased, and also your special tokens on top of that. Now, one other thing we're going to talk about for the character dashboard is the slots that you can see here. There's 3 slots. And these slots here, what you put in this is your trait token. So there's different traits that you can be. Now with the ghoul, when you start, you're going to start off being vilified automatically from the get-go. And I will read word for word at the book of what these trait tokens are for. For the trait tokens, I'm just looking in the rule book that you get. It's called Learn to Play. And the explanation of the traits are on page 14 of the Learn to Play. And you can see traits right there. So with the traits, the choices you make during your encounter and quests you have lasting effects on you and your reputation in the wasteland. These story details are tracked by trait tokens. There are 6 traits tracked across 3 token types. When you have a trait token, you cannot also have the trait displayed on the opposite side. So the trait tokens are double-sided. I'll show you a trait token. So this here is a good example of a trait token. So that's one side, and that's the other side. Now this token here is vilified, and as a ghoul, you start with this trait token right away. So let's read about the different traits and what they are. So let's start off with the first one here, the brown one, and you know it looks like you got you look like God or Jesus or some kind of God. It's brown. It is called idolized. And the other side is villainized, or vilified, I should say. So vilified and idolized. These traits track what people in the wasteland think of you as. If you are idolized, people like you. If you're vilified, well, you get it, obviously. So they're going to like you if you're idolized. But if you're vilified, they're not going to like you because they know you're a villain. So what you do with these trait tokens is you will place them into your dashboard here. So because I am the ghoul, I am starting off automatically as being vilified. Now the other 4 characters, it don't tell you that you start off as idolized or vilified or what have you. So during the game, depending on the choices that you make in the quests, will determine what kind of trait you are. So again, that's vilified. Getting focused, thank you. And that is idolized right there. Let's look at the other. Another trait token that you can get is well rested, which is this icon right here. And if you flip it over, here we go. It is addicted. So these traits track your well-being or dependence on a multitude of drugs available in the wasteland. Yes, when you play this game, you can get drugs. So this will track like if you're well rested, because during the game you can do which is called a camp action, and you would gain a well rested token, which will help you and pretty much gives you a reroll if you're this. And there's negative effects if you're addicted, obviously, for that. So that is another trait token that you have. Let's go on and look at the other ones. The last 2 traits that you can be, now this one here is a super mutant. And on the reverse side of it is a synth or synthetic. Now with these traits indicate whether or not you're a synthetic or a super mutant. And again, during the game, with your choices, it's going to determine what you are, and you would place them into the slots onto your character dashboard. When you gain a trait, you take the corresponding token and place it in one of the slots in the upper right corner of your player's board, which you see right here. If you already have that token, turn to the other. If you already have that token, turn to the other side. Flip that token over. You lose the trait on the other side of the token. However, if the face-up side of the trait token shows a lock icon, and you can see there the white lock icon. Let me get a little closer to the camera so you can take a look. So you can see there, that's a lock icon. And then also the Addicted has a lock icon too as well. So, where was I at here? However, if the face-up side of the trait token shows a lock icon, you cannot flip that token and do not gain the trait on the other side. If you are ever instructed to lose a trait, you must discard that token. You can lose a trait even if it has the lock icon. So during the game, and you're doing your quests, your encounters, and the choices you make and everything, even though it has a lock icon, you can't flip that over to show the other one. In this case, super mutant or synth, you are locked in as a super mutant. Now, if it tells you to get rid of that, even though it's locked, you still get rid of it. And that is it for the trait tokens for the dashboard. To touch upon the well-rested trait token a little bit more, I'm just reading this in the book too as well. Most traits have no inherent rules. They simply track things about your character and change what options are available to you and which companions will follow you. The well-rested trait, which you can see right here, I've got to go on camera, I'm not even watching. The well-rested trait, however, can be used to gain a benefit. When performing a test or fight an enemy, you can voluntarily lose the well-rested to gain one reroll, rerolling any number of dice. So if you have a well-rested trait token because you camped, or a card told you that you're well-rested, and you're battling just a bloatfly, and you fail, you can discard this off your dashboard, and you're not well rested anymore, but because you discard it, you can re-roll 1 to the amount of dice to try to beat that bug or that enemy, or to succeed in the test that you're taking. In either case, that's what the well-rested trait token is. Continuing on with the dashboard, or the character dashboard, you can see on the bottom here you have like a shirt icon, a hand icon, somebody waving, which is your companion, and over here you have 3 card tokens. This is your inventory. So this is equipment and inventory. So with this one here, when you're playing the game, you can find different equipment and so forth during the game and pick up different inventory and everything else. But you can only have, you can see here, there's only 1 slot for the clothing or apparel. There's only 1 slot for your hand, 1 slot for a companion, but 3 for your inventory. And I'm going to read this part of the book just so we're on the same page. And it's on page 10 on Learn to Play, in case anybody's wondering. When you acquire an item or companion, place it in your play area. It is now in your inventory. You can have up to 3 assets in your inventory at the same time, which is over here. So your max limit is 3. And it don't say it's, each character is different. They can hold more or less. It's just 3 no matter what character. If you would ever acquire cards in your inventory beyond 3, you must choose and discard cards until you have only 3. So you can only carry 3. So you can have like 3 rockin' inventories, 3 rockin' items in your inventory, and you pick up another one which is even just as good. You have to choose and get rid of 1. So that could be a little tough because you can only have 3 into your inventory. Additionally, you can have up to 3 cards equipped at a time. 1 apparel, 1 weapon, and 1 companion. So apparel is the shirt, weapon is the hand, and a companion is the little figure waving. Indicated by the slot on your playboard. Equipped cards do not count towards your inventory. You can change out what cards you have equipped when you acquire a new card at the start of your turn, or when you perform a camp action. So just say you had a card into your inventory that you want to, a weapon in your inventory, and you want to put it here, but you already have a good weapon there. On your turn, or if you're going to camp out as the action, you can switch them out. So you can go through all of them. Now the only thing with that is, again, you only have one that you can have, and then 3 for your max in your inventory. When you die and you go back to the start, we already explained this in this video, but when you die and you go back to the start, not when you completely eliminate, but when you go back to the starting tile, you're going to lose all your cards from your inventory, but whatever you have equipped, you're not going to lose. They just stay there for you, which is a good thing. So you're not going to lose all your awesome cards that you have here, but your awesome cards that you have in your inventory, you will end up losing if you die and go back to the start tile. That's pretty much the explanation for the character dashboard, or the character card, the inventory equipment track, the XP and rads too as well, your special tokens and your traits for your character dashboard. That is it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at how you set up a scenario, you pick one, and so on and so forth. So let's take a look at that now. What you see here are scenario sheets. So in the core box that you buy, you get 4 of these different types of scenario sheets. Now, it does have a name of the scenario and information on the back. When you are playing the game, you're going to pick, you can randomly pick or decide whoever you're playing with, what scenario you want to play, and then you're going to build a map according to that. There's a couple of things you have to consider here when you're doing this. Now, because we're playing a solo mission and my playing skills of this is very bad, specifically because my dice rolling sucks. But in any case, they do recommend for the first time to play, which is the Commonwealth. And this is the game, this is the scenario that I think we are going to play for our first live streaming of Fallout the board game. Now, if you think you would rather me play a different scenario for the first one, then comment down below and let me know what scenario. Now, the only people who are going to be able to comment onto this part is the people who have played Fallout the board game and played the different scenarios. That way you'll be able to let me know what you do. But in any case, this is your scenario Commonwealth map. And the way you set it up, it's pretty simple. So it says setup is stage 14. So there's a stack of cards that you are going to find they're encounter cards. That's what the kind of cards are called. And they're all numbered. So you want to find number 014, which is 14, and you want to put it in the staging area. I'll explain that further in a different video, but for right now, we're just talking about how you build your scenario. And it says here too as well, place a shield token on Diamond City. Now, with every scenario that you're going to play, it's going to have like some special rules here on what you have to do to set it up. Now you can see here, this is your tiles. And some of them have like different cities that's labeled and everything. So if I was to set this up, you can see here, the first starting tile is your crossroads camp. So you would find that tile and you would set it up in this location. And then you would set up all the green caution tiles, which you can see right here, and you would mimic it so it looks exactly like that. So this is pointed up. Now, you would set all these up and you would set up all the other city or wasteland tiles. So there's Diamond City, there's City Ruins, and there's Downtown Boston. You would place them in them specific areas onto the map that you're setting up. Now, when you're doing this, you can do what's called an encounter action. We'll get over to talk about the actions in a different video, but pretty much for an encounter, you can flip this over, and you want to find, see it has an arrow at the top of this map tile. You want to make sure it's pointing upward. So therefore, all the map tiles are going to be flipped over the same way, and there's not anything backwards or what have you. So when you set that up, it shows you here, this is the location. This is Ashbury Road. And you have a little icon here. There's 2 different types of icons. There's settlement icons and there's wasteland icons. This one here, it looks like a little RV, I guess is the best way, or a little house. That is a settlement icon. And it has 1. Now, during the map, you'll have like other settlement icons that have like number 2, number 3, and so forth. That is, you determine all of this, where to go during your gameplay. So again, this is just to keep track of how many settlements are on the board and everything else. You'll have another icon, which is right here. This is your enemy icon. So this enemy icon right here, it tells you what type of monster to put on this. And another video, we'll talk about the enemies and who you can encounter and what type of enemies. On top of that, you can see these are all sectioned off. You know, during the gameplay, you can see, remember, the movement of your standard movement for each character, except for the Brotherhood, has 2 movements. So when you enact a movement, you're able to move 2 spaces. So just say you're here and you want to move, and it's the start of your turn, you can go 1, 2, and then you can move. That's not even on camera. So you're here, you go 1, 2. So that's all your movement done. Or you can choose to only move 1 space. What's really cool about this too as well is, just say for instance I was here and a monster was flipped over, it's active. I could choose here, go move 1 space, and I can fight that monster, and then when I'm done, I can take my last movement to move again. So you can do a move and interrupt with a fight, and then a move again, or a move, explore, or quest, or what have you, and then finish off your movement too as well. Because you get 2 actions per round, but I'm going more in detail about how to play the game, and I don't want to get into that right now. I just want to show you about the scenario maps. So you can see here, you set them all up. So you have cards such as this with the green, and you also have cards such as this, which is the red. That's upside down. So exclamation mark, and you can tell which way is the right way, like I said, because of the arrow. So this is another example. You can see this here is another type of monster. Well, it's a human in this case that you would put here, and then you have your section off. Now, whenever you do an encounter and you flip it over, that's what an encounter action is. You flip a tile over that's not been flipped over. You're going to place your monster in that tile. But the way you place it is going to be face up for the first time. So then you would grab a random human, in this case, and you would put it face up into here. And then it would tell you other things that it can do and everything else. So that's just how you do that. And that's pretty much it, how you set up a scenario for this game for Fallout by Fantasy Flight Games. You just follow the map, tells you where to set it up. If there's any special rules on what you have to do, you just follow them there. And then if you flip it over, we're going to talk about this part now. For the back of the scenario card for this, again, this is the Commonwealth. This is the one we're probably going to be playing unless a lot of people are recommending a different scenario to play. So on here it gives you a couple of different things. So number 1, the star icon is the Railroad, an underground group that believes the Institute's synths are fully sapient beings. They are fighting to free the synths from Institute control. And you can see here, this is the Railroad member. And X, this here is, we'll talk about that shortly. And then you have like a lightning bolt here. Now, Institution, it's a shield. So the Railroad is a star, Institution is a shield. Get that in focus a little bit better. There we go. I just start watching what I'm doing here. A mysterious scientific organization that has created robots known as synths. They can be nearly indistinguishable from humans. And you can see here what the synth looks like, the level it is, how to hit, and so on. So we're going to explain this a little bit more during the monster, talking about the types of monsters you can encounter and how you read the cards. But just briefly, because we are onto this, I might as well just touch upon it now. So let's go to Railroad. So you can see the cog gets an X. So during the game, both of for the Commonwealth, the Railroad and Institute will start up here, and you can see on the side they have different things. Let me see if I can get that in focus there. So star, which is your Railroad, X equals 1. So the level of the Railroad is 1 for that. And then the shield, Y equals range. So you can see down here it says Y, which means that in this Commonwealth game, the synth have range when they attack. They're level 2. This is how you can hit them, by just in the chest. And if you kill them, you get loot. And you also, they have range, and you can see right here, this is the token, the icon that they have, which is the shield. That's not even in focus here. Jeez, the camera's not working for me today. I'm sick and it's not working. But anyhow, that is it for the information of this card. And as you can see, when you advance them further, the X and Y changes and everything else. So for the kind of like greenish yellow, X equals 2. So their level goes from 1 to 2 for the railroad. And for this, the Y here is again range. And when you get into the kind of like orangish part, which is here, the X is level 3, and the Y is they get a shield. And then red is the game is over. So how would you slide and determine how to do this? So I'm going to read that part specifically in the book so that we can learn it together. Just while I grab the book. Unless otherwise stated, during this scenario, the Commonwealth, you have your shield, which is the Institute, they're the synth, and you have the railroad, which is the star. And they start at the top of this track. Now, during the game, this is how this works. It's called Faction Power. I'm reading this from the Learn to Play book, page 15. Each faction's current power is shown by position of the faction token on the track on the left side of the scenario sheet. There's the scenario sheet, and this is the left side, and that's where they're starting at. This can be advanced down the track by survivors completing quests and by the agenda deck being depleted. Its position affects the value of certain agenda cards and can affect how powerful the corresponding faction enemy token are. So this is an example right here. A faction's token can be advanced by the survivor completing specific quests. Any quests that show the star or the shield icon on the result advance the faction's token down the power track a number of spaces equal to the plus symbol shown after the icon. So just say you completed a quest. That is one of your actions. You're going to do a quest and you completed it. And it has, like, just for instance, has 2 pluses and a shield. That would mean that this shield will advance down the track 2 spaces. Just like that. And again, if you complete another quest, and for the railroad, then it had like 3 pluses, an example. You would, well, I'm going off camera here. There we go. You would advance that down to the 3. That's it. And the objective is you want to try to get a number of points, influence points. I completely forgot what the name of that was. Influence points during the game before these get down here. Once it gets down to the red, that's it. The game is over. So you want to try to get an amount of influence points. During the solo mission that we're going to be playing, you need to win the game by getting 11 influence points. That's the only way you could win this. So by the time these reach down here, or one of them reach down here, you want to have 11 influence points. We'll go over that in a separate video, what influence points are, and so on and so on. But anyhow, I'm continuing reading on for this, for the faction track on the scenario sheet. If a faction token ever reaches the final space of the track, that faction had gained enough power to take over the wasteland and the game ends. If that token advancing granted any survivor enough influence to win the game, they could declare victory and end the game first. If no survivors reach the required amount of influence, the faction that reaches the end wins the game and all survivors lose. Pretty much that is it in a nutshell. So because, like I said, solo mission, it's 11 influence points. If we get that before either one of these get down to the end, we win the game. But if one of these get down to the end before we get our 11 influence points, whatever it's going to be, the railroad or the institution, in the Commonwealth scenario, then that faction took over the wasteland and we lose, and the other faction loses too as well. And that kind of sums up for the other side of the scenario sheet, which is the faction track. There you have the end of this second introduction video, which we talked about. Just to sum up, we talked about the character dashboard and how you gain experience or how you lose hit points, how you get radiation levels increased, or RADs. We also talked about the special token icons, what they do and how they can benefit you, and so on. And on top of that, we talked about the scenario, how you pick your scenario, how you play it, and each one is going to have prerequisites and what you, when you're setting up the map. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, this is the second video in the series to build up for, I'm just reminding again in case anybody forgot or just to annoy you. Well, hopefully I'm not annoying you. But anyhow, this is just a build up to December 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to do a live streaming of Fallout, the board game by Fantasy Flight Games, where I am going to play solo, and you, the viewers, are going to be able to comment to me and let me know what your thoughts are and what I should do and where I should go, and so on, so that we, as a team, even though we're playing a solo mission, beat this game and come out victorious in this wasteland for Fallout. That's right. So until next time, Board Game Maniacs, comment down below, show me your love, let me know what you liked about the video, give me some insight if you played Fallout, so on, because I want to hear from you. Without you, Board Game Maniacs would not exist, and we wouldn't be where we are today onto our YouTube and Twitch channel. And again, that's where we're going to be streaming, by the way, is our YouTube and Twitch channel. And that's very important. So if you want to as well, you can click on the link, or you can go to patreon.com/BoardGameManiacs, and you can be an official sponsor of Board Game Maniacs, where you would make a minimal donation of $2 a month to help keep the lights on, help get other games, and able that we can start banking some money so that we can buy new equipment such as microphones, computer, editing software, and so on, so that we can just keep evolving, upgrading, and getting bigger and bigger and bigger with Board Game Maniacs. You can also, you can do a one-time donation while we're doing live stream, or even afterwards. There'll be a link for Streamlabs/Board Game Maniacs 1. You would just click on that and you can donate money there too as well. Every little bit helps. If you don't want to donate, not a big deal. Just by watching the videos, subscribing, you're showing, commenting, you're showing us your appreciation for Board Game Maniacs, and you're also showing us love, which is incredible, and we appreciate everything that everybody does for us here on our Board Game Maniacs channel. Thank you very much. You can click on the subscribe button. We are going to be having some giveaways too as well, and by clicking on subscribe, you're going to be entered into one of the giveaways. And also too as well, when we're doing live streaming events from time to time, we are going to be having giveaways. And this streaming of Fallout the board game, we are going to be having a live giveaway. So you want to tune in and watch that and see if you're going to qualify and see if you will get the first giveaway of our live streaming for Fallout the board game. So until next time, Board Game Maniacs, I hope you enjoyed this. Tune in for more of the other videos that are going to be posted throughout the week for the build up until December 14th. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Play some games. Talk to people. Communication is key. But most importantly of all, and that is, be a maniac. Huh!